Hello everyone, this is part 7 of What If Naruto was banished and goes back to Konoha, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
It was a normal afternoon in Konoha, as the populace continued the daily rituals of shopping, cleaning, servicing, and the like. Naruto had just gotten up, since he had just returned from his little encounter with Jiraiya. Since it was the afternoon, Naruto could see the various shops and businesses already well underway with their activity for the day. As he walked down the streets, he noticed a rather unusual sight approaching him. There were at least half a dozen Anbu walking down the street, in a tight formation. Each of the 6 were carrying a large sack over their shoulders. They ignored their surroundings, as if they weren't out in the open at all. If the large rucksacks weren't strange enough, they were surrounding a normal-sized cart as well, which also had several sacks stacking on top of it. From the direction they were walking, Naruto figured they were heading for the village gates. Naruto kept his eyes on the ANBU, as they passed him, and walked down the street. That's something you don't see every day, spoke a voice behind Naruto. He turned to see Sakura behind him, a smile on her face. What? The ANBU, or you smiling? He joked at her. Sakura responded with a crass raspberry towards him. Seriously Naruto, said Sakura, what do you suppose they're carrying? My guess is the hermit's fee for fixing my seal, said Naruto. He did demand a large sum of money. I guess the village decided to cave into his price. Then why use the Anbu? They're only used for black operations, said Sakura. Then a look of realization came to her eyes at her own words. Naruto, you don't think? She asked her boyfriend. Nah, said Naruto, waving his hand at her question. They wouldn't be so stupid as to try and kill off the hermit. Jiraiya would easily be able to dispel his seal before they even cut his throat. My guess is they used to Anbu because of all the money they need to deliver. I see, said Sakura, taking a breath of relief. Honestly, when did she become such a conspiracy freak? What was Lord Jiraiya like Naruto? Asked Sakura. At this question, Naruto bit his lip, as he tried to figure a way to tell Sakura without having to take up her time. After all, she was important to the village, and she didn't have a lot of free time. He was a decent person, with a troubled soul, I suppose would be the easiest way, he told Sakura. Do you have an idea what trouble that is? Yeah, said Naruto. It was the same trouble as me. He was banished from Konoha. Well, more accurately, he resigned as a shinobi because of the betrayal of his friends. You mean Tsunade-sama and Orochimaru? Asked Sakura, a hint of disbelief in her voice. I can't imagine Tsunade-sama being so cold towards one of her own teammates. Well, it certainly happened according to Jiraiya, replied Naruto. He was accused of a terrible crime, and Tsunade broke his nose because of it. Later, after he quit, he found out it was his other friend, Orochimaru, that framed him. That poor man, said Sakura. Believe me, the reason his price was so steep is more than justified, said Naruto. But, on the bright side, I don't have to worry about Kyuubi for a while. He turned to her with a smile, which made her smile back. So Sakura, what's been going on since I left? Naruto asked her. Well, Sasuke and Tenten are off on missions again, said Sakura, tapping on her fingers as she mentally checked off a list. Ino is working her family's shop today. And I've got lessons today before a short day of rounds at the hospital. When will that be done? I'd probably be out by evening, said Sakura. She looked to Naruto, who looked to have an idea come over him. So, how about afterwards I take you out? He asked the kunoichi. My treat. Well said Sakura. But my answer's yes. I'll come get you after I get home and clean up. No, said Naruto, shaking his head. I asked you out, so I'll come pick you up. Deal, said Sakura, giving Naruto a peck on the cheek. Pick me up at 7:30. Got it, said Naruto, and waved goodbye as Sakura went off to the Hokage offices. The sun was starting to descend on the day, and Tsunade groaned in pain, as she reached for the drawer where she kept her sake supply. Ever since the Jiraiya incident, the council had found it necessary for her to authorize such a huge ransom, and then look over the recent mission requests and see which ones they would need to decline. So to her despair, she had several dozen stacks of papers in front of her, with no sign of them ever getting smaller. Her quest for intoxication was interrupted at the sound of someone coming into her office. She looked up to see her apprentice coming up to her with no signs of pity or mercy in her eyes, another stack of papers. Here's the last of them, said Sakura, as she simply dropped the papers on whatever open space was left on Tsunde's desk. Ugh, grumbled Tsunde, letting her head land on her desk with a thud. Thank you, Sakura, you can go now. Tsunde-sama. Sakura spoke up. What is it? Asked the cage. I was wondering if I could ask you about Jiraiya, answered Sakura. At this remark, Tsunde lifted her head, albeit slowly. What about Jiraiya? She asked. Her tone was normal, she didn't seem too bothered by the question. Are you still mad with him? Asked the apprentice. No, said Tsunde, leaning back in her chair, staring off in no particular direction. It was long after Jiraiya's exile that I found out about Orochimaru's scheme. And I wasn't even around to get some vengeance on that snake before he was ousted by the Sarutobi sensei. Well, then why don't you apologize to him, or something? Asked Sakura. Tsunde let out a breath at that. It's because I have no right to ask for his forgiveness. No right. In this world, Jiraiya had two and only two things to fight for in this world, Sakura, explained Tsunde. He was a man whose sense of justice wasn't ever wavered. To him, the only thing that mattered to him was the trust and friendship he had with me and Orochimaru. Tsunde looked toward her left hand, clenching it into a fist. She could still feel the cracking of his bones, and the flat force of his nose colliding with her fist. And with this hand, said Tsunde, I crushed that trust he had in me. To Jiraiya, I have no right to call him my friend, and I certainly don't have the right to ask for his forgiveness, not after the unforgivable pain this village put him through. I see, said Sakura. No wonder Naruto said he was justified. Yes, he was correct in every way, said Tsunde. Anyways, is that all, Sakura? Well, Tsunde-sama, I have a request, said Sakura. Well, that's unusual. You usually never have need of a favor from me, Sakura, commented Tsunde. Yes, well, it's just that, I was to do something with Naruto tonight. And I was hoping to have the evening to prepare. Well, said Tsunde, a look of surprise on her face. She expected Sakura to have a big request, given it was her very first. But letting off early should be easy enough. She looked over her desk, and picked up a clipboard. Let's see your duty roster, she said, taking a look over it. The roster contained the patients on Sakura's round, their reason for hospitalization, and the current conditions. A smile went over her face, as she liked to have her apprentice have a break. It seems all of your patients are almost in full recovery, Sakura. I see no reason why you should do that, when I can get one of the more inexperienced trainees to do it. So that means, said Sakura. Yes, you can go home. Have a good time, said Tsunde with a smile. Meanwhile, Naruto had ran into a little stop on his way back home. What do you want, Kiba? Asked Naruto, leaning back in the cushy chair that was supplied by the snack shop they were inside. First the Inuzuka wants a word with him, and then he waits until they're in a place where they could speak in private. What was he afraid of? I needed a favor, spoke Kiba, his eyes darting over their surroundings. He was quite paranoid, even when it came to a reconnaissance expert like an Inuzuka. Well, spit it out. I ain't going to wait here all day while you gather the spine to ask me, said Naruto. He clearly wanted to get home as soon as possible. I need you to accompany me and Hinata tonight, replied Kiba. Well, that caught Naruto off guard, to say the least. Why the heck would you need me? Said Naruto. We agreed to spend some time together. Kurenai-sensei has been pushing it on all three of us for a while, saying it would help our teamwork. And so this time you drew Hinata, and you don't feel like it, right? Wrong, said Kiba. I've just got an image to keep, and I don't think going out alone with Hinata keeps that image intact. I like spending time with her. Oh, I see, said Naruto, a mocking grin on his face. Kiba and himself seemed to have a friendship built on mutual insults. So the little puppy has a crush on Hinata, eh? Said Naruto, in sugar-sweet voice that he knew got under Kiba's skin. Naruto. And you're too much of a coward to just ask her on a date, so you use the teamwork scam to get past that, said Naruto. Well, am I right? Kiba Inuzuka was well known for his short fuse, especially with those who annoyed him. Hell, the entire village knew of Kiba's exploits and mishaps because of his lack of self-control, even for a member of the rowdy Inuzuka family. However, this blonde knucklehead had managed to do what the rest of the village thought impossible: keep Kiba quiet. The Inuzuka looked to the ground, silent as the wounds of Naruto's truthful words tore at his shields. Well, nevertheless, spoke up Naruto, I can't help you out anyways. I'm doing something with Sakura tonight. Kiba looked up at that, a look of seriousness that Naruto had never seen from the guy before. Then how about this? You and Sakura can do something with me and Hinata. How about it? Kiba, are you completely without manners? You can't just barge in on my date just because you don't have the balls to get yours, spouted Naruto. This isn't about courage, Naruto, said Kiba. I just want some help to ease the tension. Look, all you have to do is go to dinner or a movie or something with me and Hinata. After that, you can punch me out for all I care. Naruto scoffed at his friend's words. He shook his head, as his brain was trying to convince him to take pity on this poor soul in front of him. You're serious about this, said Naruto. Because I'm not going to help you out with your own problems. I don't expect you to, said Kiba. I'll take full responsibility for what happens. Fine, said Naruto, acknowledging his defeat. I'll come get you two when I've got Sakura. Naruto got up and ready to leave the snack shop. Naruto, said Kiba, as Naruto looked over his shoulder. Thanks. Don't thank me, said Naruto, I'm doing nothing for your sorry ass. After flashing a grin at Kiba, he left to go home. But first, he would need to stop and tell Sakura the change of plans. He approached Sakura's apartment, which was conveniently not too far from her parents' residence. She moved out when she was finally getting good money over at the hospital, but Sakura still felt safe being nearby her old home. If Naruto remembered correctly, Sakura lived on the third floor, the far left apartment. He leapt to the third floor and skimmed the various windows and patios that stuck out from the building. He then caught sight of something he wanted burned into his retinas. Sakura was busy getting ready for the date. She had washed up already, and was busy just adjusting her undergarments. Well, she should be honest, she wanted to make it special, so she put on some very striking lingerie. It was reminiscent of an old burlesque house hostess. First was the pair of long, white lace stockings, which were attached to her lace panties by a matching garter belt. On her top, it was a white lace brassiere, which covered her entire upper torso. Wow, she heard a voice at her window. She turned, ready to beat the hell at whoever was there, but halted when she saw it was her date for the evening. I hope you're here for something other than to ogle me in my underwear, Naruto, said Sakura, turning back to her vanity mirror continuing her preparations. Naruto shook his head a few times to get it back into reality, then stepped inside Sakura's room. Yeah, I do, he answered her question. Listen, Sakura, how would you feel if Kiba and Hinata joined us for dinner? Kiba and Hinata, asked Sakura, turning around to Naruto. Are they going out too? Something like that, said Naruto. The poor bastard thinks it would be less awkward if we made it a double date. Sakura thought about it for a minute. That sounds fine, said Sakura. Dinner is always better with more people. However, I hope you planned more than just taking me out to eat, Naruto. Oh, don't worry, said Naruto. Something tells me you'll have more to do than just eat tonight. Anyways, I'll come get you later. He walked back out to the patio. Oh, and Sakura, said Naruto. Yes, white is a very, very good color for you, he said. Oh, get out, Naruto, shouted Sakura playfully. Naruto left quickly. Men, she muttered to herself. The moment of truth rolled around soon afterwards, and Naruto and Sakura walked over to the Hyuga residence, to see Kiba and Hinata waiting on them. Underwear aside, Sakura had dressed very conservatively for her date. She put on a white t-shirt, and a pink and white overcoat with it. She also put on some dress pants, which were black in color. Her hair had its trademark hair band, but was also tied up into an intricate ponytail and bun combo. Naruto had on some of his dark cargo pants, minus any weapons, scrolls, or other ninja tools. He had a designed t-shirt with a patterned over shirt atop it unbuttoned. He bore a watch on his left wrist, and the scent of cologne, although cheap cologne, could be smelled wafting off his person. His hair was as unruly as ever, even though it looked wet. He must have tried to comb the stubborn mane. Hinata had the kind of girl get-up only a wealthy one could really pull off. She had on design name clothes all around. It was a dress, but not so long as one that she might have worn for a more important occasion. No, this one was something you'd wear on such an occasion as this. It was black, and its sheen reflected the moonlight quite well. She was also carrying a small purse with her. Her hair was clean, trimmed, and smoothed out, also giving off a small sheen. While nothing fancy, she also had a beautiful bracelet adorning her right wrist. The one of the four that was the most shocking had to be Kiba. For a Inuzuka, he sure knew how to clean up well. For the first time, his three friends had seen him without his precious hoddy jacket. He was wearing a dress shirt, which was black with white vertical lines. His pants were black jeans, with a brown belt holding them up, as they looked to be a bit big on him. He even managed to find a pair of dress shoes, which were black and polished to boot. His hair, which many could say was as wild as Naruto's, was combed and greased up. Three of the four looked grimly at the destination. Everyone knew in town that the large, exquisite building in front of them was used for only two occasions. The first was when you were celebrating a huge event, like a business deal or a wedding proposal. The second was for people looking to woo their prospective partners. It was the kind of restaurant where one could get charged for the water. Nevertheless, the four walked into the establishment, into a cozy and welcoming lobby. The carpet was plush red, with square designs in gold and green. The lobby had chairs, with leather cushions also painted red. The ceiling was white drywall, with a large chandelier overhead. Name? Asked the host. Naruto realized that this was a place that needed a reservation, much to his chagrin. I didn't make a reservation, but surely you have at least one empty table, said Naruto, trying to persuade the man. Young man, there are no, and I mean no, exceptions. Now I'll have to ask you to leave, he said politely as he could, even though he was chewing Naruto out. Naruto sighed in defeat, and walked over to his friends. That is until Hinata walked past him. Hinata, said Naruto over his shoulder. Leave this to me, said Hinata, and after flashing a smile approached the host. Excuse me, she said. The host looked to the person talking to him and froze in place. Miss Hyuga, he said nervously. Am I going to have to tell my father that I couldn't treat my friends to a nice dinner all because of a reservation? She suggested to the host. Oh, of course not, said the host, as he quickly ran into the back to make some room. I didn't know you had it in you, Hinata-chan, said Sakura. Well, this is a special case, Hinata replied, with that innocent smile plastered on her face. I hope that means I don't have to pay, asked Naruto, the hint of persuasion in his voice. Of course you are, said Hinata, deflating Naruto immediately. You're the one after all who wanted to join me and Kiba-kun. Oh really, said Naruto, glaring daggers at Kiba, who simply avoided eye contact. Soon enough, they were seated to a nice table, and were settled in while deciding their courses. Things were going smoothly for Kiba, as he interjected himself occasionally, and everyone was enjoying themselves. Naruto was actually starting to think that inviting Kiba and Hinata was a good idea. It was a lot of fun, and Sakura really didn't seem to mind having company. The gang was finishing up, but it seemed that the trouble had just arrived. It started with Naruto glancing over to Kiba, and seeing a look on his face, like he was a deer in headlights. He tried to look over to where Kiba was looking, but from what he could tell, he wasn't seeing what was unnerving Kiba. Excuse us ladies, said Naruto, getting out of his chair and pulling Kiba out of his. Naruto then led Kiba into the men's room. What's your damage, dog boy? Asked Naruto, snapping Kiba out of his trance. I saw Neji, he said simply. Naruto took a peek outside the door to overlook the room. Sure enough, he saw over near the lobby entrance none other than the pride of the Hyuga, Neji. Granted, Naruto never met the guy, and had no idea of his attitude. Given Kiba's reaction though, he must have a mean streak him or something to that accord. Not only that, a powerful shinobi like Kiba frozen in fear over someone else could only mean that Neji was strong to boot. What's wrong with Neji being here? asked Naruto, as he let the bathroom door close behind him. It's Hyuga Neji Naruto, it's not exactly brain surgery, answered Kiba. That doesn't mean a thing to me, said Naruto. What's wrong with him being here? It's a free country. It's the fact that I'm here with the one he's assigned to protect, he said. You know of the branch and their role, right? Yeah, said Naruto. So Neji's in charge of keeping Hinata safe, so what? 5 years ago it wouldn't mean much, said Kiba. Neji despised his role, and in turn despised Hinata as well. However, after she made Jonin, and beat Neji in a sparring match, that changed altogether. How do you mean? Asked Naruto. They've gotten close since then. And Neji's taken his role very seriously. He's overprotective of Hinata, to say the least. One time, Shino and Hinata were sparring, and Neji walked in on it as Shino accidentally injured Hinata. Shino was lucky that Kurenai-sensei was there, because there was a murderous look in Neji's eyes. So, said Naruto, you're thinking he might take it the wrong way seeing you and Hinata in a romantic place like this. I may be strong, but I can't take Neji on one-on-one, replied Kiba. Plus, I know he'll go out there and berate Hinata to boot. I don't want that to happen because of me. Listen Kiba, said Naruto. You're going back out there and finishing your date with Hinata. And if Neji sees us? Asked Kiba. Then deal with it, better than trying to run from it. You're a man aren't ya? Said Naruto. He then left the restroom, Kiba soon following suit. Kiba's fears did come to pass, as he saw Neji chatting with Hinata as soon as they exited the restroom. The pupilless eyes of the Hyuga turned over to their direction, as Naruto and Kiba sat down. Hinata-Nisan, said Neji, in his low, calm voice. Are you out with him on a date? Yes I am, said Hinata, as if it were the easiest question in the world. Hello Neji-san, said Kiba, trying to be respectful to Neji. Neji didn't respond in kind. I must say Hinata, said Neji. I never thought you would lower your standards to the likes of this Inuzuka mutt. Hyuga Neji was well known in the village for his prowess in battle, as well as for his prestige and position in the Hyuga family. However, he had no chance of seeing the punch heading toward him at blinding speed. The impact sent the off-guard Neji several feet, smashing into a few tables here and there along the way. Neji looked to see the Inuzuka as his assailant. She didn't lower her standards to anyone. Shouted Kiba. Hinata-chan is the purest, truthful, and kind-hearted person I know. The fact that she likes to spend time with me is nothing but an honor and a privilege for me. So don't go spouting you shit on her because you have a problem with me pal. Neji picked himself off of the floor, and licked his lips, tasting the blood that had been let loose from Kiba's punch. Many in the restaurant expected Neji to just lose it and try his best to kill the Inuzuka. He decided however, to dust himself off, leave a credit card at the host's desk in the lobby, and sent himself on his way. It was quiet as the four walked down the near-empty streets of Konoha. The silence was mostly on their part, as they were all feeling just a bit uncomfortable in the aftermath of what they witnessed. Naruto, I'm going to walk Hinata-chan home okay? Spoke Kiba. Sounds fine, said Naruto. We had a nice time, said Hinata, bowing in thanks. Good night. Same to you, be safe getting home Hinata-chan, said Sakura. I'm not worried, said Hinata, as she grabbed onto Kiba's arm. The two then went their separate way from Sakura and Naruto. Naruto and Sakura went over to her apartment, where Naruto took himself to the kitchen to prepare drinks for himself and Sakura. That was certainly a nice night out, right? Asked Sakura, as she plopped herself down onto her couch. I wouldn't say the same for Neji, said Naruto, as he handed a drink to Sakura. Well, at least he handled it properly, said Sakura. Which is more than I can probably say for you. Ouch, joked Naruto. That was a low blow Sakura. Still, Kiba and Hinata said Sakura, leaning back into the soft couch cushion. Can you imagine what it would be like if those two had kids? That's a pretty scary thought, said Naruto. Brats with short tempers who also had the Byakugan. The two laughed at the thought, Sakura looking at Naruto through glazed eyes. Say Naruto, you don't like kids, do you? She spoke to him. What? Said Naruto, turning himself to Sakura. I'm okay with little kids, what makes you think otherwise Sakura? It's just that, I was thinking about, the future is all, said Sakura. Sakura, Was 17, said Naruto, shaking his head. Though I guess I can't blame you. I thought about the future all the time back in the day. Oh really? Said Sakura. But it was a grimmer situation back then, he continued. And now, I can stop thinking about the future, because I couldn't be happier right now. I've got a new home, a new job, and 2 new relationships. His tone had gotten gradually more serious, and it ended when he cupped Sakura's face with his hands. Sakura was frozen in time, her eyes meeting with his own. I've had a crummy life up to now, spoke Naruto. And the only thing my stinking childhood ever gave back to me was you, Sakura. My new life also gave me 10, and from now on, that's what I intend to focus on. I want to make as many happy memories as I can with the both of you, because I'm so scared of what might come in the future, our future Sakura. A single tear came to Sakura's eye, which was quickly washed away by her eyelashes. She stood up, took Naruto's arm in her hand, and walked toward her bedroom. Come with me, Naruto, she said softly. I want to make a happy memory with you. Despite her initiative, Sakura was flopped unceremoniously onto her own bed, Naruto landing right on top. His mouth dominated hers, but was gentle with its conquest. The two helped each other out of their clothing, piece by piece, not caring where it would fall in the clean-kept room. The times they needed to break away was met with a disappointing groan from the both of them, but was also helpful in building the anticipation. Sakura flinched slightly, as her bare skin made contact with Naruto's rough palm. It was large, and rough from all of its battle experience, but was also warm and soothing. After a few minutes of admiring her porcelain skin, his hands roamed up to her breasts. Sakura gasped at the first contact, and whimpered to herself as Naruto began to massage them, like rolling lumps of soft clay. Naruto kept his eyes closed, letting the noises run his imagination. He left one hand on Sakura's breast, stroking at the nipple. The other went southward, catching a moaning Sakura completely off guard when it found its destination. He gently parted her labia lips, and let his fingers explore her. Sakura was about to scream, but was cut off as Naruto kissed her deeply yet again. He probed her mouth while giving special care to her petals. Her hip gyrated wildly, arching her back as she begged for more contact. It was after a few minutes that Sakura forcefully pushed Naruto's mouth from hers, a bridge of drool breaking apart in the process. No more teasing me, Naruto, said Sakura, almost struggling for breath from saying simply that. I want it now. Naruto gave her a gentle smile, as he started to position himself. Your every wish, he said, as he then slid himself gently into her, Sakura giving off a moan in the process. I will do my best to see it come true. He then began a slow rhythm, Sakura wrapping her legs around him to hold herself steady. Naruto was surprised to see Sakura was one of the silent partners, as she would gasp and groan simply to herself. However, as increased the pace, he managed to get more of the kunoichi's feral side out. She was beginning to feel it, as she started to groan louder and louder with each entry by Naruto. Somehow, she managed to get a look at Naruto in her throes of passion, and saw he was close to coming as well, but he was gritting his teeth. She smiled at how he was holding back for her. Little did she know that it's so easy to please boys. She then reached her peak, as all her nerves flared up, and the shockwave almost crippled her body. Naruto finally let loose, as Sakura screamed and clenched herself around him. He looked at her, arching her back, her face in pure euphoria, and it was the most beautiful thing he'd seen in a while. They plummeted onto the bed, and soon succumbed to sleep. Morning came across the window in Sakura's apartment, and peered onto the two lovers cradling each other. Sakura woke up, grunting as the bright light hit her eyes. She woke up to see Naruto staring right at her. There was a sleepy smile on his face, which she returned in kind. Morning, he said. Morning, she replied, and got up immediately. I need to wash up quickly, wait here. Naruto nodded, as Sakura walked into the bathroom. He couldn't see anything, or hear anything, but Naruto felt a small spike of chakra come from the bathroom. A few minutes later Sakura emerged, and retook her position in bed, Naruto's arms wrapping around her. What was that I felt? He asked her. Just a technique I was taught in Kunoichi class. It prevents pregnancy. No wonder you and Ten let me come inside you, he said. Aren't you worried about disease though? Me and Tenten are clean, and I checked your files too. You're a healthy specimen as well, she said. You looked at my medical records. You're nosy, Sakura, he poked fun at her. This coming from a peeping Tom, retorted Sakura. Touché, said Naruto, a small chuckle coming from him. They heard a pecking sound coming from Sakura's window, and they looked to see a messenger pigeon. Sakura tried to get up, but Naruto kept his hold on her. Naruto, I need to get that, she told him. Nua, he said. You can stay right here. He nuzzled her neck in response. But it might be important, she said with a few giggles, as she was being tickled by Naruto. Oh, trust me, Sakura, said Naruto, as he jumped on top of her. Nothing could be more important than this. The growling of a playful young man and the laughs of a happy young woman resounded throughout the apartment. The pigeon, tired of waiting, pecked off the message band, and proceeded to fly back to its roost. Tsunade was a patient woman, but the one thing she didn't tolerate was tardiness. She had sent Sakura a message a half-hour ago, and she was still nowhere to be found. Finally, Sakura came through the door, spinning, twirling, and flashing a blinding smile with her. Sakura, where have you been? Demanded Tsunade. Oh, I'm sorry, Tsunade-sama, she said in an ultra-sweet voice. Tsunade first thought that Sakura had been going through her medicine supplies. And anyways, here you are, Chuan-sama. These are the files you said you needed from me, and I also took the liberty of filling out my patient status and release forms. They only need your signet, she said. As if the initiative of Sakura wasn't enough, she also set down a cup of tea for the cage, still bewildered at her apprentice's behavior. Was she still supposed to be mad at her? Anything else, Tsunade-sama? Asked Sakura. No, said Tsunade. Thank you, Sakura, that will be all for now. Okay, said Sakura, and skipped herself out of the cage's office. Shizune peeked her head into the office after Sakura left. Was it just me, she asked Tsunade, or was Sakura glowing? Your guess is as good as mine, replied the cage to her longtime companion. Who knew she needed a day off that badly? Naruto, get up, said Sasuke, using his foot to nudge his unconscious friend from his bed. He poked and prodded the body so many times, he was almost certain Naruto had died overnight. Sasuke, despite being an elite jonin, was beginning to lose his patience. He then decided to pick up Naruto's limp sleeping body, carrying it towards the bathroom. He laid Naruto in the bathtub, and turned on the shower. A jolt of ice water soon got the desired results. Naruto woke with a startled look on his face, as the cold water stung his warm flesh. He quickly turned off the faucet and tried to dry himself off. Sasuke simply watched with an amused look on his face. For a shinobi, you sure are easy to sneak up on, he commented as his friend dried off. Grr, mumbled Naruto, still waking up to form viable insults towards his friend. Anyways, get dressed and meet up at the Hokage's office when you're done with breakfast. She needs both of us for something, said Sasuke, who then let himself out by way of Naruto's bedroom window. You'd better run, shouted Naruto out the window, receiving a wave from the back of Sasuke's hand. He then proceeded to dress and made his way into the kitchen. Morning, Naru, said Tenten, as she was busy flipping some eggs on a pan she brought from her apartment. Naruto wasn't one with all the modern-day equipment one might use to make breakfast, so he usually had to improvise or borrow the proper tools from his friends. Welcome back, Ten, he said, giving his girlfriend a peck on the cheek. He rummaged around the various cupboards looking for plates, glasses, utensils and such. How was the mission? Easy as pie, she said. An escort job was never so easy. The assassins they sent were nothing but a giant bunch of thugs with weapons. So how was your time while I was gone? Well, it's bound to get more interesting. Sasuke needs me to join him and the Hokage for some reason, he said. By the way, did you know he was in there? Of course, said Tenten. Why didn't you help me? He asked her. Because it was fun to see what he'd have to do to get you up, she said with an innocent smile. Besides, if you were in any real danger, you could defend yourself easily. You just sleep like that when you know you're safe. I suppose I should forgive you since you flattered me in the process, he said, returning the smile. So, who's better? Asked Tenten playfully, as she skillfully flipped the finished eggs onto a plate. Who's better at what? Asked Naruto, as he poured some juice at the now fully placed table. Sakura or me, Naruto, said Tenten. Naruto just shook his head and laughed. I refused to answer on the grounds that I might incriminate myself, he told her, in as serious a voice as he could produce given the playful situation. Oh come on Naru, I promise not to hurt you a lot, she teased. I'd rather you just accept that I don't favor one of you over the other, since it's better for my health that way, he teased back. That's what I love about you I guess Naru, said Tenten. Anyways, have something to eat before you get out and running. Now that, said Naruto, picking up an egg with his fork, is something I love about you. The two had a laugh at that remark. So, your mission took you somewhere around Sunagakure right? Asked Naruto. Tenten nodded. How is everything going over there? Things are running smoothly again, replied Tenten. When I got there, they were ready to announce a new Kazekage. They were, said Naruto, noting the inflection in his girlfriend's tone. Apparently they made a big stink at the last minute, answered Tenten. They chose Temari, and apparently the patriarchs over there didn't like that idea. Because she's a woman. Doesn't sound like that big a deal. I mean, Tsunade-sama for example is a woman, and she's doing fine. I asked Shikamaru about it, said Tenten, fiddling around with her food for a bit while talking. The best he could answer is that's just the way Tsunade's ancient monarchy works. Pain in the ass, said Naruto. Well, we can't help them with their problems, as we're from Konohagakure. Still, I think they'll figure out a compromise. Naruto finished his food, and after thanking Tenten, cleared his side of the table, rinsed the dishes, and made his way to the Hokage offices. He found Sasuke and Shizune in front of Tsunade's office, waiting for him. Ready? Asked Sasuke. Of course, replied Naruto. With that, Shizune led the two Jonin inside the cage's office. Tsunade's desk was unusually clean today. Not a scrap of paper out of place or a book thrown sloppily to the floor. The only stack of paper in sight was small, and already taken care of, covered in the appropriate stamps of the Hokage. Naruto, Sasuke, I'm glad you decided to make it here in a timely fashion, spoke Tsunade, who offered two chairs opposite her desk to the two men. What's this about Tsunade-sama? Asked Sasuke. Well, the reason why I called you two specifically was for an important reason, said Tsunade. Today, instead of filing and filling out paperwork, I've been called to the annual Summit of Elders. What's that? Asked Naruto. It's when we have all the clan leaders of Konoha meet together. We also invite prestigious Jonin, as well as some of the influential business owners. The meeting allows all of us to discuss the direction of the village. So, we're invited to observe, assumed Sasuke. No, far more than observe, said Tsunade. I have put on the agenda the reinstatement of two clans into the Konoha Summit of Elders. That would be your clans, the Uchiha and the Uzumaki. At this news, even the stone-faced Sasuke widened his eyes. Naruto did as well, but he didn't know of the significance such news had on him. Sasuke looked to his friend. You have no idea what that means, don't you Naruto? Said Sasuke. No, said Naruto. Can you let me in on the importance? As members of the summit, the clans are given a certain amount of leeway, prestige, and influence over the entire village. The more noble houses, like the Hyuga and Yamanaka, are given an even greater influence. In short, if you are a member of the council, you hold the fate of the village in your very hands. Well, that's true to a degree, added Tsunade. Of course, the Hokage will always have the final say in what happens to the village. However, that goes in the matters of missions, shinobi teaching, and other matters of a military significance. The summit can do much in the way of politics, economy, and of course, the Hokage's degree of power. But my entire clan was slaughtered, said Sasuke. I'm the last Uchiha alive. That is true, replied Tsunade, however, this does not dismiss your clan's noble blood. Now that the last Uchiha is of age and a Jonin, he should be recognized as the leader of a noble house. But, what about ancestors? Asked Sasuke. And surely they'll want heirs to the family. Even if I do have family, I will be the last to wield the Sharingan. Sasuke, I'm rather surprised, said Tsunade. You think your Kekai Genkai is the only thing that qualifies you to be part of the summit. Some of the elders are a bit shallow, but you have more than the Sharingan, you have leadership ability, charisma, and a strong sense of principles. Well, that's great to hear and all, spoke up Naruto. But my clan is from another village. What qualifications do I have? Well, the big one would be that you're the Jinchuriki, said Tsunade. As such, It's only right that the person entrusted with this village's protection has a say in how's it done. And given that the elders know of your past, they might see it as an asset to have you on their side. Naruto thought about that. He had no reason to feel guilty about using the fears of the elders against them to gain some standing in Konoha. It might even pay off in the end. Being the Jinchuriki, they would be foolish to try and wipe him out, for both the Kyuubi and his Konwaza bloodline. Still, he wasn't like that. If he wanted the elders to fear him, it would be because he earned it the right way, by being an honorable, charismatic shinobi. What if I didn't wish to go? Asked Naruto. Sasuke looked to his friend in disdain. Naruto, what are you saying? He asked. Do you know how important this could be for you? I don't care, Sasuke, said Naruto. If getting power means that I have to be feared, I'd rather have no power. It seems I may have given you the wrong impression, said Tsunade. Tell you what, as a personal favor to me, come to the summit. If you still don't feel right about it, you may decline any decision the elders may come to. That sounds fair, said Naruto. When are we going? Right now, said Tsunade, checking her watch. We'll be a bit early, but it'll give you time to get comfortable. The hall where the summit meeting was being held wasn't too far away. The building itself was a dome, much like a stadium or arena. Inside, the room opened wide, letting there be a giant open circle in the middle of the floor. The walls themselves served as the seating, with stadium seats lines all along the wall of the dome. Throughout the dome, the seats were separated into certain sections, with signs over a specific area. The signs bore the names of the various clans, businesses, and jonin. Near the middle of the seats, the chairs for the Hokage and his or her advisors were open. Sasuke and Naruto took their place in the section for jonin. Before long, the various seats were filled with representatives for all the clans in Konoha. Sasuke pointed out the Yamanaka's leader, who turned out to be Ino's father. Sakura's father was also in attendance, who looked towards Naruto before keeping to himself. The same went for Tenten's father, who was one of the men in the business section. There was also the 4 elders that worked with Tsunade, Daisaku, Rotaru, Kotaro, and Yasuko. When everyone had arrived, Tsunade rose from her seat to address the audience. Elders, jonin, and the various citizens of Konoha, she spoke loudly, to let her voice project. Our first order of business will be the reinstatement of the Uchiha clan. The floor is open for opinions. Daisaku stood up. The Uchihas were once part of these proceedings, he started. It would not be such a change to allow them to join our conference once again. That may be, said Yasuko, but we must also take into account the fact that there is only one Uchiha in existence. And what would be the problem in that? Spoke a jonin. Naruto and Sasuke turned to see one of their former senseis, Yuhi Kurenai. If he is an Uchiha, it shouldn't matter if he's the last of them. It should matter, spoke Kotaro. How wise would it be to invite the Uchiha, only to have them blink out of existence once again? Kotaro is right, spoke the Hyuga's leader, who happened to be Hinata's father. It would be a different story if he had an heir, but one person does not a clan make. I would say that you're rushing the poor boy to a serious decision, spoke Ino's father. At the present, he's only a young man, he has all the time in the world to have heirs. In the meantime, he's also a powerful leader among the shinobi, so it would help to have him in these discussions. Are you sure that opinion isn't bias, Yamanaka-sama? Asked the Hyuga. It is bias, replied the Yamanaka. But bias isn't an issue here. What's important is if we as a whole find that the Uchiha are worthy to be part of this summit. I would be curious as to how the Uchiha feels about all this, said Rotaru. At this, the summit all looked at Sasuke. While nervous, Sasuke stood up to address the elders. My clan was once considered your friends, he spoke. You all once called my clan your brother in arms. And now that I'm the only survivor, you ask me about my credibility. In your eyes I have none, and I don't expect any special treatment. Still, I have proven myself time after time in the field. If you judge me by anything, I would say the only fair way is by my actions. We'll have a vote, said Tsunade. All those in favor of the motion, raise the blue side of your voting fan, she said, holding her fan up in example. As Hokage, she wasn't given a vote, she was the mediator. Out of the 50 people in attendance, 39 showed a blue fan. The majority voted in favor. It's settled, the Uchihas are reinstated as part of the Summit of Elders, said Tsunade. We will establish the Uchiha's seat next year. Now, the next motion is the instatement of the Uzumaki. The floor is open. I do not find this amusing, Tsunade-sama, spoke the Hyuga. What is the basis of this motion? It is simply to make the Uzumaki part of Konoha, spoke Tsunade. Now, do you have any reason as to why we should decline him? For one thing, said Yasuko, it's not certain as to the boy's fate. Both as an Uzumaki and the Jinchuriki. I have no problem with the boy, spoke the Yamanaka. However, isn't it well known about his clan's history? That history has yet to be verified, if at all discovered. Spoke up the Haruno. Naruto allowed a smile to grow on his face as Sakura's father defended him. Whether you can verify or deny the history of the Uzumaki remains to be seen, said Daisaku. However, would we be wise to ignore any idea of the Uzumaki's true nature? You all talk as if he's already been proven guilty, spoke up Tenten's father. Why not give him the benefit of the doubt? It's not about doubt, it's about safety, spoke Kotaro, and with Uzumaki Naruto, both remain a mystery. All those in favor of the motion, show your blue fan, said Tsunade. It wasn't much, as only 13 chose to show blue. The motion was declined easily. That wraps up the first item, said Tsunade. We will take a half-hour break. While everyone disassembled, Tsunade went over to Sasuke and Naruto. Congratulations Sasuke, she said. And I'm sorry Naruto. It was a tough sell. It's okay Tsunade-sama, said Naruto. It's no big deal for me. Thanks for trying though. If you two wish, you can leave now. Young men shouldn't have to sit around listening to old men argue. Meanwhile, the four elders had convened at a small tea house. They were among 1 kettle of green tea, and 4 cups filled to the brim. That was rather harsh of you, don't you think Yasuko? Asked Kotaro. At least I wasn't as brutal as Hyuga-sama, defended Yasuko. Besides, it would be futile in the end no matter what I said. Better to stick with the road we have laid out for the boy. A road to submission? Asked Rotaru. Is that any better than being part of the summit? Oh, enough of your pity, said Yasuko. You know as well as I do that in the end, he will become what he was meant to be. One must defeat obstacles to grow as a person. And I'm sure this has nothing to do with the noose around our necks, said Daisaku sarcastically. Bah, said Yasuko, guzzling his tea, and then pouring himself another cup. He's right you know, said Kotaro. It really doesn't matter what we do. I say you all give up too easily, replied Yasuko. Just because we're in a bind doesn't mean we should just give up. If anything we should try to take advantage of the situation. You don't get it do you Yasuko? Said Daisaku. We have already given our captor what he wanted, threats or otherwise. He intends to let us live a bit longer, as we're still useful. But as far as he is concerned, we're already dead. With that, the elders sat with their tea, using the silence to calm down for the rest of the summit. Ino awoke early that night. She rolled over in bed to see her boyfriend, Sasuke, lying awake, staring at the ceiling. What's wrong honey? She asked Sasuke. Just trying to figure out what's wrong with those elders, replied Sasuke. I don't know, something is just nagging me about the decision. Are you sure you're not just mad at them for dumping your best friend? I just have this suspicion. It all seemed too deliberate and obvious. Maybe I've been a ninja for too long eh? Sasuke turned into her, wrapping his arms around Ino's bare waist. I just think you're trying to help Naruto. Sasuke sighed in defeat. Ino certainly was as stubborn as he was when she wanted to be. When we were kids, we were opposite sides of the same coin. I had a family, and he didn't. The common ground was that we were alone, and that we could support each other. Then the most important thing in his life happened to him, and there was nothing I could do at the time. Sasuke, said Ino, you were a boy back then, just like Naruto. There wasn't anything you could do, no matter how much you wish it were otherwise. Now, you two have become wonderful men. If you want to help Naruto, do it now, rather than wish for help from the past. You're right, said Sasuke, and with that got out of bed and started to get into his shinobi equipment. What are you doing? Asked Ino. I am going to get some answers, said Sasuke, and I'll start at the first clue I've got. I'll be gone for a few days Ino. Ino nodded, as Sasuke opened the bedroom door. Ino? Asked Sasuke. Yes, I know I don't say it a lot, but I really love you. I know, said Ino. I love you too, now be careful, Sasuke. With that, Sasuke left the bedroom. It was the day afterwards, and Naruto was sent to the office to see Tsunade once again. Naruto, I have a reconnaissance mission for you, said Tsunade. It was requested by the elders themselves, so it's considered at least a B rank. What's it entail? He asked her. Just for you to go check up on your old sensei is all, she said. Futeki sensei, said Naruto. That's it. Apparently yes, and they requested you specifically, so they must have something they need from him. Aside from the easy mission specifications, you are allowed 2 shinobi to come with you. I know exactly who to bring, he said with a smile. When Naruto first went to Futeki's place, it was a 5-day journey. Now, however, he was stronger, faster, and much more talented, even with Sakura and Tenten with him. They were managing to keep up with him quite well, so the gang reached Futeki's villa in a day and a half. Naruto buzzed himself in, and the girls followed him inside the training area. The girls were taken back a bit at the violent decor that made the area what it was. You really trained here, Naru? Asked Tenten. Yep, he said proudly. In fact, some of these craters and scars along the wall you see were made by me. How could anything human make a mark like that? Exclaimed Sakura, pointing at one particularly huge gash along the inches-thick walls. Well, he was a good teacher, said Naruto, rubbing the back of his head sheepishly. They arrived at the house itself, and Naruto knocked on the door before stepping back a ways from it. The door opened to show Futeki almost exactly as Naruto had left him. Still shirtless, still scarred from eye to neck, still smoking. Naruto, said Futeki in his gruff voice. What brings you all the way out here? No greetings, Futeki-sensei, asked Naruto, which received him a bonk on his head. 5 years here and you still don't listen to your elders. He said. I told ya I don't like formalities. Now who did you bring with ya? Futeki, said Naruto, these are 2 very precious people to me, Tenten and Sakura. Hello, they said, bowing towards the old man. Quit your bowing, he said, waving at them. Men bow to women, not the other way around. Now, you all must be bushed, so come on in. Better do what he says, said Naruto, a smile on his face as he reminisced about his old times here. So, said Futeki, as he sat on his couch, opening a beer for himself. What's your business here? Well, said Naruto, I was sent out here to check up on you. Since when does Konoha think I need a babysitter? Said Futeki, annoyed. I'm not sure why they sent me, he said. But I took it as an excuse to visit you, and show you how I'm doing. I see, said Futeki, as he reached into his pocket, producing a cigarette and lighter. He lit one up and exhaled. Well, why don't you start from the beginning? So Naruto began to tell Futeki about his newfound life in the village. He started with how he met the newest Hokage, and how she was none other than Tsunade of the Sannin. He talked also about his mission to Sunagakure, and how Kyuubi almost broke free. He spoke about Jiraiya, and how he persuaded the old man to help him fix the seal. He talked about Gaara, Temari, Kankuro, Shikamaru, Ino, Hinata, Kiba, Shino, and last but not least, Tenten and Sakura. By the time Naruto had finished with his stories, Futeki had emptied his pack of cigarettes. Well, you've certainly turned things around over there, Bazoo, he said to Naruto. Sure have, said Naruto. What about you? Still just living out here alone? Like I want to, commented Futeki. Still, I have to admit, the house has gotten a bit empty since you left. Does that mean you missed me? He asked. Yeah, said Futeki, I missed having to keep your punk ass in line. The scowl on Naruto's face caused Futeki to chuckle to himself. Anyways, feel free to stay a few days, said Futeki, as he got up and made his way towards the kitchen. I'll help, said Naruto. No way, Bazoo, said Futeki. You get upstairs and take a bath. How about you two? He asked Sakura and Tenten, care to give me a hand? Sounds good, said Sakura. Tenten nodded in agreement, and the 2 ladies followed him into the kitchen. As they were busy making dinner for the 4 of them, the girls found themselves impressed with Futeki's ability. You sure can cook, said Sakura. Got no choice seeing as I live alone and all, said Futeki. So, you two girls are going steady with the bazoo. Yes sir, said Tenten. It seemed awkward at first, but now it's like second nature. Futeki, who was busy chopping ingredients, stopped at Tenten's answer. Don't tell him, but I did miss the kid, he told the girls. It was almost like having a son. I want to thank you girls, for making him happy. There's no need to thank us Futeki, said Sakura. Yes there is, said Futeki. I can't tell how many times I had to keep the kid from crying himself to death. He was so lonely, and he felt so betrayed. I had no choice but to help him from the sidelines, while he fought back his demons. Futeki continued his chopping, and soon enough, dinner was served for 4. That night, Futeki woke Naruto up from his sleep. He motioned for Naruto to remain quiet, and the boy followed him downstairs and outside. What's this about? Asked Naruto. I need to be blunt with you a minute Bazoo, said Futeki. I think I know why those elder bastards sent you here. How did you know my mission was requested by the elders? Asked Naruto. Because I'm not stupid, said Futeki. Other than, old Sarutobi, those old coots would be the only 4 with a vested interest in me. My guess is they ratted me out. What? Naruto, I know more about your clan than I let on, said Futeki. In fact, I know the location of one of the logs of the Serioku village. You do? Exasperated Naruto. He didn't whether to be mad or just sad at this hidden truth. Yes, and I'm sure they want it, said Futeki. It shouldn't take them much longer to make their move. Let me stay and help you, said Naruto. Out of the question, said Futeki. You're going to leave tomorrow by evening. Why are you doing this? Said Naruto. Because you still have something to live for, answered Futeki. I've lived my role out. I'm expendable. So you're just going to throw your life away. I didn't know you were one to take the easy way out. This isn't about life Naruto, said Futeki. I've done what I was meant to do, and now I'm going to leave this world like I'm supposed to. That's what destiny is, a person plays their part, and then quietly leave the stage. But, I still have one more act to play, said Futeki, now confusing Naruto. Naruto, it's time to give you my final lesson. Get Tezumateki, he ordered. In the morning, Tenten and Sakura were led by Futeki to the weapons vault. What's going on Futeki? Asked Sakura. Just wait here a moment, he said to them. With that, he unlocked his vault and went inside by himself. After a few minutes, he emerged from the vault. I wanted to give you girls a gift as thanks for all you do for Naruto, he said. Futeki, there's no need to, said Tenten. I insist, interrupted Futeki. First for you Sakura. Futeki extended a small box to Sakura, who opened it up. Inside were a pair of cat claws. They were 4-pronged claws, each claw sharpened and polished to perfection. It was made of steel, and was attached to the wrist by means of a thick leather belt strap. The tops of the claws were decorated in a flame design etched into the metal, along with 6 brilliant rubies welded into each claw. I figured these would help you utilize your strength, without hindering your hands, said Futeki. These were a gift to me from a good kunoichi friend of mine. Thank you Futeki, said Sakura, still in awe at the weapon's beauty. And for Tenten, he said. He extended a larger, skinnier box to her. Tenten opened it to see a sheathed blade. She let loose the sword. It was a Chinese broadsword, made of steel as well. There was a dragon etched into the blade itself, and the bronze hilt was adorned with emeralds. May I? Asked Futeki to Tenten, who allowed the man to take the sword in hand. He demonstrated the sword to her. He pushed down on the middle of the handle, and soon the blade split into twin swords. Even more so, he popped the ends of the sword handles, revealing a screw and a hole. He attached the 2 ends together, which made the weapon into a double-bladed sword. After a short demonstration, Futeki reformed the sword into a single blade, and then sheathed it. That was from a very famous warrior I fought in a duel, he explained to Tenten. I know you'll take good care of it. Thank you, said Tenten, who immediately attached the sword and sheath to her belt. Futeki smiled at the 2 girls, who were extremely grateful for such gifts. However, his joy was short-lived, as he heard a large sound coming from outside. Damn, they're here, he spat out. What's going on? Asked Tenten. There's no time to explain, replied Futeki. He placed a hand on each of the kunoichi's shoulders. I need you to get Naruto, and escape. Tell the Hokage that your mission was a success. But, listen, I'm entrusting Naruto's destiny to you too. Keep on being there for him, and support each other until the end. He then went back inside the vault. The four met on Futeki's front porch. When they got out there, they were welcomed to an army of shinobi. They bore no headbands, so there was no way to tell where they were from, or who sent them. However, they could all feel the killing intent emanating from them all. Futeki came out with one of his most trusted weapons. It was a giant Zweihander, made of dark iron. It wasn't fancy or anything like the more ornate weapons of his collection. In fact, the blade itself looked worn and like it had experienced hundreds of battles. The weapon was at least 12 feet in length, the handle making up 2 of those feet. It took all of Futeki's strength to wield it without being encumbered. The handle was wrapped in tape for grip, and there were a few short lengths of tape that fell off the handle. The blade itself had a caved-in back, which took the shape of a semicircle. Make a run for the gate, he told the 3 Konoha shinobi. They may be here for me, but that doesn't mean that they'll leave you alone. Fight if you have to, but just cut through any that get in your way and keep running. Naruto, he said, turning to the boy, those techniques I taught you, now is the time to use them. Futeki, said Naruto. No need for words, kid, replied Futeki. Just know that I'm proud of you, and you'll definitely make your dreams come true. However, he flashed a smile, you'd better take care of these women, or else I'll come looking for your ass. Naruto nodded, and with that, the 2 men charged in front of the kunoichi. Futeki simply stood his ground. He knew that these shinobi were here for his head, so there was no need for him to be running about using up his energy. Sure enough, hordes of the assailants charged at him, to which he defended himself with legendary skill. For all of the agility and dexterity his opponents possessed, their defenses were easily broken down, and all that remained for them was being cleaved in 2 by Futeki's sword. Naruto charged towards the gate, Tezumateki already out and ready for action. He looked to the distance, and saw roughly 40 shinobi ahead, waiting for him to run right into their trap. He stopped in his tracks, having Sakura and Tenten do the same. Get back a bit from me, he told them. The girls obeyed, getting a safe distance from him. Naruto was a quick learner. He closed his eyes and brought himself back to last night, as Futeki explained the technique to him. Naruto, this move is capable of great destruction. Use it only at a situation where you're vastly outnumbered. As you know from your training, you can utilize your chakra in ways other shinobi can never do. Focus your chakra on the Tezumateki's blade, extending its reach, and thickening its edge. Let the chakra flow up the shaft and pull on the blade. When you've gained enough, it's time to begin the technique. Naruto opened his eyes, and began to swing Tezumateki around him in a circle. In a few short seconds, using his enhanced strength, Naruto had built up a tremendous amount of momentum and speed. When you have built your speed and momentum, it is time. Accuracy is the main flaw of this technique, but it usually doesn't matter much in the long run, given the size of this move. Think of the chakra around you as a ring on the end of a stick. All you have to do now is let loose the ring, and fling it towards your target. Maraseryoku, shouted Naruto, and with a flick of his wrist, hurled the chakra at the shinobi horde. While Tezumateki stayed with Naruto, the chakra circle sped towards the shinobi. The chakra cut through the assailants like a saw blade, as blood and guts soon sprayed all over the training ground. The circle soon faded, but not before Naruto had taken out at least 40 shinobi with it. Naruto had no time to admire his craft though, and he soon resumed his sprint for the exit. They had reached the door, but one shinobi was standing in their way. You will not pass, he said simply. We may be under the orders to only kill Futeki, but you'll be given no mercy if you resist. You'll have to kill me to get out of here. That sounds like a challenge, said Naruto. This next technique is the exact opposite of the Maraseryoku. It requires the most precise accuracy a person is capable of. While you may not be able to see a person's chakra pathways, you can still sense them as the opponent uses chakra. You will use this sense to guide your axe. Naruto could feel the shinobi start to build and mold chakra. He felt the small pulses that emerged from the man's arms, legs, and stomach. He propped Tezumateki on his shoulder as he focused. Using the chakra as a guide, find the hair-thin line that goes across the opponent's body vertically. Your edge must go across this line perfectly. Lining your blade's edge with a hair-thin line of chakra, follow the line. Kazuato Anonimi Kyo Aoju. Naruto charged, and came down on the man with a vertical slash. Tezumateki passed through the man's left shoulder, down his chest and stomach, and came out on the inside of his right thigh. There wasn't a single mark on the man's body, but nevertheless, the assailant fell to the ground with a thud. This technique is special, as it completely incapacitates your opponent, without killing them. It is the ultimate non-lethal attack in the world of shinobi. If done correctly, you preserve the body and miss all the vital organs, while causing his body to shut down immediately. However, even the slightest mistake will cause the body to rupture, and the man will die a horrible, painful death. Use this in a situation you see fit, as it works in many situations. However, make sure you are in a position to use it without being counted. Your speed will help with that. Futeki gazed into the distance, and smiled as he saw that the three had made it to the gate. However, his brief moment of distraction allowed the shinobi to attack him. Futeki grimaced in pain, as he was impaled by 6 kunai at once. The assailants followed with a tandem attack with small ninja 2, which also impaled Futeki. Naruto, after making sure they were secure outside the walls, pushed on the buzzer on the entrance's gate. Futeki, Futeki, shouted Naruto through the speaker. Naruto, said Futeki, in between grunts of pain. Futeki, we're safe, get out of there, pleaded Naruto. I already told you Bazoo, he coughed out. I've played my part out. I've no regrets. Futeki, said Naruto. You bastards want this book. Well, it's all yours, said Futeki, who could be heard through the buzzer. However, I'm sure as hell not going to make it easy for you. After that, a loud, large explosion shook the entire area, the epicenter being Futeki's house. Naruto, Tenten, and Sakura were pushed back by the large shock waves. Bits and pieces of the assailant army flew past them on occasion. The smoke cleared, and what was once a grand and pristine training ground resembled more of a conquered fortress. Rubble came off of the now decimated stone walls. The house of Futeki was a scrap of its former self. A crater was where the weapons vault was, suggesting that was where the explosion originated. Fires were scattered randomly throughout the large training area, as pieces of the old rundown house burned away into nothingness. So it's done, spoke a person. He pulled out a small pouch, and emptied it, revealing fine purple dust. And all it required was a few hundred worthless souls. The figure scoured the ruins, looking carefully at every nook and cranny he could find. At the epicenter, he lifted a few pieces of rubble, and gasped as he found his prize. The Book of Bison, he said. 2 down, 4 more to go. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.